let me tell you about my first night here. So my Airbnb host seems very, very cool. And he offers to pay for a taxi for me from the airport to the Airbnb. Really cool of him. My only concern is getting from the airport to the Airbnb. That's it. And that's always the difficult thing when you go to a new country for the first time, in my experience. In South Korea, I wasn't very responsible about my very first night. I got locked out of my Airbnb and I had to sleep outside. I had policemen bother me. And, ever since then, I realized you can fuck this up and you can be stuck outside if you are not very particular about making sure that you get into your Airbnb or you have access to it. So, it may say it has 24-hour check-in, but it may be like South Korea where I show up and evidently it does not have a 24-hour check-in and there is not somebody there at night. What happened here was I thought this dude would be on top of stuff. He offers to pay for the taxi, whatever. So I land, and the first thing he messages me with is, so you're going to have to pay for the taxi, but I'll reimburse you. Okay, not a big deal. It's cool that he called taxi for me, period. And then I'm waiting and waiting and waiting for the taxi, and I don't have Wi-Fi outside of the airport. The second you step outside, it cuts out. So waiting and waiting and waiting. There's no fucking taxi by the description that he gave me. And so I go inside and I get 3 different messages from him. Where are you? The taxi's here, yada, yada. And I'm like, well, there was no taxi of the description that you gave me out front here. And he's like, where are you? You're on the wrong level. He sent the taxi not to arrivals, but to departures. So why he would do that, no fucking idea. So I go up there and I wait and I wait and I wait more. And I'm like, this taxi's not up here either. Did he drive away? Who knows? Walk back all the way to the airport. Go on my phone again, and he's like, oh, no, the taxi driver is across the street at like a different building in front of the arrivals at the airport. Why? Doesn't matter. I can't get an answer to the question of why because, I don't have Wi-Fi. So I go into the taxi. He takes my stuff, whatever. It's the middle of the night, maybe like 11-something p.m. local time. We get to this dark ass street. We make a turn into like this residential area, and he's like looking around like crazy and looking at the phone and looking around. And at some point in frustration, he just stops and goes, here works, and just kicks me out. And we weren't even at the right building, as I would learn later. We're just in a random courtyard. On the Airbnb, it says that the building number is, and I'm going to make up a random number here, but they'll be different enough. He says that the building number is 60. And there is no building number 60 when I arrive. I walk around this whole courtyard, around every single residential building around it. And after looping twice, I realize there's no building 60. Did he mean building 50? I don't know. That's where he paid for the taxi to drop me off, and that's why the taxi couldn't find it either. All of the buildings have a security code on them, which he never gave me. So now I'm in this predicament because the taxi driver is gone. It's midnight. I don't know where I am. I don't speak Polish. I don't have any internet on my phone, nor is there any public Wi-Fi around the whole loop that I did. Why did I do 2 loops? First loop, I discovered that there is no building 60 in existence. And on the second loop, I looked for Wi-Fi. No luck. Trying every single Philips Hue and fucking everything to see if maybe I can get some internet so I could contact this guy. Nah, I couldn't. Luckily, there was a little convenience store open. So I went to the convenience store and I bought this. But the lady says, and I go, Zig Zigala. Not ringing a fucking bell. It's okay. And she's like, big beginning lately. No idea. Don't worry about it. Not a problem. I'll pay whatever it costs. So she gives me the thing. And I'm like out there trying to read this shit in the dark. My phone has 15% battery on it. If my phone runs out of battery, I'm completely fucked. I'm calling all the numbers on here and trying to set it up, and it just won't work. And all the error messages are in Polish, which, as we've explained before, is gobbledygook. So no idea why it's not working or what's going on. It wasn't until a guy driving past who had seen me walking around aimlessly in the dark and shouting at God stopped and was like, "Do you need help?" And he gave me Wi-Fi and he read the message and he's like, "Did she scan your passport? It says it didn't activate with your passport." And I'm like, Zig Ziggly, she was asking for my passport, of course. Oh no. So I have a SIM card that I spent my Polish money on that will not work. I get all the DMs from that guy at once, from the Airbnb host, and I look at it and he's like, "Oh, by the way, there's a code. The code is this, Campanelli." And I'm like, "What the fuck? This, Campanelli?" I go to the keypad and it's like, it has all the numbers. It has 3 letters, no Campanelli anywhere. I don't know why the fuck you typed Campanelli at the end of the thing. But anywho, I input the code and it doesn't open anything. There are 5 different doors, I think, to get into the building. I go to all 5, walk around the whole thing, input the code individually at every door, maybe 3 times, and it doesn't work. And the guy that had given me Wi-Fi had already bounced because we thought we figured it out. I got the code. He says if the code doesn't work, you just call the door person, ring him on the dial pad, and you'll be good to go. There is no doorman that you could dial with the dial pad. You can only dial residents with the dial pad. The doorman is turned off for dialing on the dial pad. So I keep walking around and inputting these codes, and it's not working on any single door. I had a really bad night. Eventually, I found another separate entrance to the building where the security doorbell person was, and they didn't speak a lick of English, so I didn't really get any help. I showed them the address that I was given, and they told me what floor it was on, and I was good to go. But wow, what a rough experience. And then I finally get to the Airbnb, and I was kind of rude with the guy in text messages. I was like, "This is one of the worst check-in experiences I've ever had. I can't believe you do not have instructions on how to get into this building with pictures and stuff. Like, you really need to work on that." And he hits me with like, "Well, you're the only person that's ever had a problem. Has anybody tried to get in here at night? Because I could almost assure you that they would have problems." I don't believe that for a goddamn second. But yeah, so it wasn't easy to get into this building. It was really awful. I closed it around my dick and then I fucked that book, dude.